Hertfordshire climate change activist who was arrested for climbing up a gantry over the M25 has released a charity Christmas single. Louise Harris, who's 24, received a suspended sentence for protesting with Just Stop Oil a year ago. It means she's had to find other ways to get her message across, and it's turning her to her musical background. Let's first up, though, have a little burst of the single. It's called We Tried, which has been backed by Chris Packham, and have a listen to this.
So take me where the bluebirds sing, while we lose everything. There's too much poisoning. And fly me where the birds still fly, 'cause smoke fills up our sky, 'cause we ran out of time. Oh well, we tried, 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 we tried. Oh well, we tried.
Now, Louise joins me in the studio. Now, good morning to you, Louise.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Got to be really honest, right? Because
Yeah.
normally when we have people with the Christmas single, and we play it, and I go, oh, okay, 10 seconds, fade that out. And even sometimes with like professional, like Lizzo and all that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we'll give it. But that's really good, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's really good.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Let's. I mean, how did you decide to release a single? How did that come about?
So, yeah, I mean, I wrote this song, We Tried, about a year and a half ago, July 2020, a few days after my 24th birthday. And I remember at the time on Instagram saying, this is an age that children born today may never reach because of the climate crisis. So I wrote it deliberately from a future perspective. From just hearing the song, you might think it sounds quite defeatist. We tried, you know, have we run out of time already? But if you watch the music video, it's very clear we're not out of time, but the future we're hurtling towards is catastrophic, and it's down to ordinary people to change things.
Now, obviously, we first heard about you when you climbed onto the gantry over the M25. That was the last time we saw you. Mm-hmm. And you got a suspended sentence on that one, didn't you?
I got a suspended sentence for something else, but it was still a, Just Stop Oil protest.
Does that mean that you can't protest anymore?
Well, it's all a choice at the end of the day, but yeah, it means if I were to get convicted of, marching in a road, for example, which people are being sent to prison for now in the UK, I would be sent to prison for 8.5 months. So now I'm kind of deciding what's the best use of my time and energy in terms of tackling the crisis.
Now, I'm sure you've had this thrown at you many other times since, because a lot of our listeners will be, frustrated by what you did. I mean, they might agree with you, but don't agree necessarily with you causing huge tailbacks on the motorway or other work. What would you say to them?
I'd say that I never wanted to disrupt anybody. I never do. And the reason that I did that and that I continue to fight the climate crisis, which does include disruptive protest, is because what we're facing is, in the next couple decades, not enough food, not enough water, war and conflict over scarce resources. Even in the UK this year, 7 people died in floods in just in October, including a grandmother. Her son found her drowned in floodwater in her own living room. So that's the disruption that everybody's going to face due to the climate crisis. And history has shown that the quickest way, the most effective way to demand change is through civil disobedience, like the suffragettes, the civil rights movement. So I do this out of love for all life on earth, and I never want to disrupt people.
Okay, we're talking about the single this morning.
Yeah, single. Yeah.
How does what happens now with the support you've received for that?
The support, Chris Packham has called for it to be Christmas #1, which is amazing. Christiana Figueres, she was the former United Nations Executive Secretary on climate change. She said it's inspiring her, so it's overwhelming support.
So how do you go about getting into a Christmas #1 then? Because in the old days it was you get a few singles and print it off and then you start flogging them everywhere, but it's different nowadays, of course. What's the plan? So
the plan is, well, a lot of it is online now, streaming, but actually, if you buy it on iTunes, Amazon and Bandcamp, that's up to 600 times more effective than streaming it. This is the Christmas sales week. This is the week that counts. If you're listening, then you have until midnight this Thursday to buy it, and tell your friends to buy it, and share the music video on social media. All proceeds go to climate causes.
Do you think this could be the way forward for Just Stop Oil, making songs that that people could listen to rather than disrupting them?
I think the climate movement needs to try everything, really. People within the movement have to play to their own individual strengths. If you're an accountant, then brilliant, be on the finance team for Just Stop Oil or Extinction Rebellion or whatever. And if you're a singer-songwriter, we'll use the power of music. I think music is such a unique way of moving people, getting them to emotionally connect with this climate crisis, which does affect me and my family. It affects you and yours. And at the end of the day, it's only ordinary people that are left, we're the only hope left, coming together and realising where we have the power as a collective when we come together.
Can I ask a question? Because it does fascinate me, right?
Yeah.
When you get together, I mean, do you kind of have a committee meeting and go, right, we're going to do this. We're going to glue ourselves to this junction or whatever it is. And then do people go, yeah, all in favour? Or is there heated discussions about, is this the way to go with it? You know what I mean? How does that work?
Yeah. I think like in any kind of civil disobedience movement in history, there's obviously organisation. There's a lot of care gone into it. There's non-violence trainings to make sure it's as safe as possible. I mean, in Just Stop Oil, there's specific teams dedicated to different things. It's not like an Extinction Rebellion where, it's kind of everybody votes for everything.
Yeah.
So it's a bit different.
Okay, well, listen, I really wish you all the very best for the single. I really do. Just with the disruptive protests that we've been experiencing.
Yeah.
The people will be saying, and you're disrupting the wrong people. And I hear what you're saying. We've got to get the message across. And, history has shown that if we do stuff like that, the message does get across. Mm-hmm. But do you think the message has been lost somewhat? That people are more focused on the fact that you're blocking off the M25 and they can't go to work, and they're not looking at possibly the bigger picture?
Well, firstly, we are targeting the people who are causing this crisis. I was arrested outside Rishi Sunak's house for actually singing this song, We Tried, a couple weeks ago. I've now been banned from London. My own, career is on pause for the next 3 months now because of that.
Well, you can't go into London at all?
No, not at all. Not within the whole area within the M25, even though I'm a singer-songwriter and my living depends on that. So that's one thing. But another thing is, we don't get invited on, to be frank, to shows like this unless we cause disruption. If we were just standing with placards outside 10 Downing Street, which by the way people are doing and are now being arrested for that, it doesn't get the press.
I'm old enough to remember that I'd go past Parliament Square and there was always people in tents. It was always there. Now it's gone. Not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. We're arrested for being on the pavement now. Yeah. Even wearing a Just Stop Oil t-shirt on the pavement gets you arrested. People are literally... Someone was sent to... Stephen, he's now in prison for 6 months for just literally marching in the road. So it's scary. It's scary. It's now becoming a police state. The government have all sorts of power. And I mean... The government and the fossil fuel industry, they're the people creating this crisis. The cost of living crisis, the energy crisis, and the climate crisis are all caused by the fossil fuel companies. They're raking in billions of pounds of profit, and nurses are now queuing at food banks. People can't heat their homes. They're dying. And, these are the people who are causing this, so we can't leave it to them to just change randomly.
So what's the thought process with the single then? To hopefully get it to number one? Really?
Yeah.
And then once again use that as another way of just getting the message across.
Yeah, I mean, if a climate song went to Christmas #1, it would force the media to report on it. It would obviously be played to millions of people who could be moved into action, into joining the movement. And it would be proof that it's the majority of the UK who want climate change. Sorry, not climate change. Action on climate change. It's not just 12 people walking in the road like the government likes to make it out.
Yeah. Louise, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Genuinely, I like the single. I really do.
Thank
I think
you.
it's got a lovely hook to it.
Yeah.
And that little bit at the end, wow, get you right there.
Oh,
really,
thank you so much.
I wish you all the very best of it. And if people want to go for it, once again, the usual thing, Spotify. All
well, if you can, buy it on iTunes, Amazon or Bandcamp, because that's 600 times more effective than streaming it. And all proceeds to climate causes.
And you can't go into London for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I can't go to London until the 22nd of February. So I can't go to my gigs, my open mics, my interviews, nothing. I'm hoping that will be changed. I'm waiting for my solicitor to try and attest that. But yeah, all I did was sing my song, We Tried, outside Rishi Sunak's house. He wasn't even in. And they're saying like, what, this is now harassment, antisocial behaviour. The police watched me sing it. They watched me sing the song. They said, are you going to leave at 9 o'clock? We said, yes. We leave. And then we tried to leave and then they arrest us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us in the show this morning.
Thank you.